this interview, Odd speaks with Michigan business owner John Hofmann. John owns and runs Fusion Marketing. It's a business owner's one-stop shop for all their print and marketing needs. John has been an entrepreneur almost his entire life. He prefers being his own boss over the perceived comfortability of a corporate paycheck. John shares some of his experiences in the business world, explaining why he prefers to do it himself. John Hofmann is truly a man who built himself a small empire from nothing but his bootstraps and a pure drive to succeed.
How you doing, John?
I'm doing pretty okay. How about yourself?
I can't complain. I got to play video games with the wife today, and I got to watch Doctor Strange. So, yeah, it's a good day in Oddland.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic, actually.
So, all right. So the reason I wanted to do this is because I want to start talking to more independent business people, and I really like how you run things.
All right.
So, give me a little bit of the history of Fusion Marketing.
Oh, goodness. So Fusion will be 10 years old this October. So background in art, used to be in retail, had my hands in a fistful of different companies. When I was closing down my last store, I didn't want to sit inside of a box all day anymore. So I got together with one of my mentors for art, and I said, hey, I'm thinking about I think I want to do graphic design full-time for a living. Do you want to entertain starting something up with me? So, jump forward, and we did. And we started off as an art house doing corporate branding and things like that. And then over the years, we've evolved into a full service. So everything from web development and printing to SEO and promotional items and, like all the fun stuff in between.
I like a lot of the work that you guys put out. I love that you work with all levels of businesses as well. Yeah,
we really try to. So from a marketing firm stance, they're usually out of reach. Like Campbell Ewald, your mom and pop shop is not going to be reaching out to them, right? It's out of reach, and that really it hurts the smaller companies because they can't look as attractive or as polished as corporate entities. Go figure. So we really wanted to concentrate on that while kind of giving them the leg to stand on, so that they could grow and continue to shape the communities. Of course, everybody has mortgages and has to get paid and things like that. But I think that we've found a pretty sweet spot for knocking projects out the park while still being affordable for healthy small medium businesses.
Isn't it funny though that I say this as a small business person myself, of course. Isn't it funny that we clamor for the charm of a mom and pop shop, but we, as a consumer base, require them to look like corporate America?
Yeah, no, of course. It's pretty funny, and then we shy away from it too, right? And we complain about the small things like business hours of the local hardware store.
Yeah.
When it's a family plus 2 employees, and we complain about that, or the smaller selection. But then we're also upset when they fold and they go away and they get replaced by a Walmart.
Yep, and higher prices too, because you usually do pay more at the small mom and pop shops.
My big argument for that, because I'm huge on like choosing where I spend my money, and like if whatever, the local ice cream store or the bookstore or whatever it may be, if I do that, if I go to the local hardware store, the money that I'm spending directly goes into my community, because usually small business owners live at, near, around the same area, if not within the same city. So if I support you, the money is going into directly into the community, not into a CEO or some sort of an executive outside of even the state or country or however that looks, right? Shareholders.
Yeah, I think that's why I was drawn to you when we met. Is you have that same passion, you have that same independent spirit that I have, and you appreciate the small business.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been self-employed since I was 18, on my own completely, sustaining myself since I was 26. So it's been more than a decade that that I've been doing this. So I know what the struggles look like,
Now,
from
how does it feel though, knowing that you've been able to for a decade sustain yourself without the need for a boss?
Oh, I mean, I guess it's kind of bittersweet, right? I definitely have my days where punching a clock would be cool. Be all done with everything at 5 o'clock. I don't care if it burns down, come back next Tuesday. But at this point, I'm not sure if I would really be able to go back to that. Like I enjoy having the freedom to play around with different ideas on the fly or different concepts. Like maybe I like this idea. Well, I don't have to wait for upper management to, approve it or whatever that might look like. Or of course, if I don't, I have an autoimmune disease. So if I'm not feeling well today, I don't necessarily have to go to work, right? Things need to get done, and as you know, shit rolls uphill. So if things don't if things don't get taken care of, it's still on you to kind of address those at the end of the day. But you don't have to worry about losing your job.
Yeah. As a small business owner, the laws of gravity do not apply.
Right. That's pretty funny.
So Fusion Marketing is a family affair though too, right? The wife is involved with it as well.
Yeah, so she handles a lot of she's kind of like she keeps it all together, more or less. That's the easiest way to kind of put it. She handles all of the accounting and accounts payable, billable, and I've been teaching her web development over the last couple of years. So she's been really quick on that because she's detail oriented. But yeah, she's the behind the scenes, keeps everybody on track, makes sure everybody meets their meetings, and all our clients take care of their bills.
She's also killing it with social media as well.
Yeah, I mean, she and I, we have a pet project for a clothing line, and she started playing around with TikTok, learning that for work, right, for other clients. And I don't know, she's at 20, 30,000 people on there easily in the last, I think she's been on there for about a year now. So don't know how we're going to monetize that or if we're going to try to, but people seem to be enjoying it. She doesn't mind the dopamine hits when, everybody says good job or gives her attention. So that's kind of fun too.
Well, you mentioned the clothing line and the clothing company. Tell me about that.
So it came from my art department over at Fusion, right? So working with the general public is daunting at times, right? So anybody that's had any type of a customer service job would absolutely know what that looks like, or the service industry. So people ask for the weirdest. Well, you're a web developer. People ask for some of the weirdest stuff, and one of my lead web developers at the time started going like, I hate people, and I was like, I have all these artists and developers inside of a room in this office, and be like, I hate people. So then the joke turned into, oh well, there's a club for that. Join the club.
Mm-hmm.
So then one day, coming to work, and he's like, oh, like check this out. Go to this website, and it's this I hate people.club. And he bought it and threw up a little landing page, and it was just kind of funny, haha. And then we allowed people to submit anonymous stories on whatever their interactions with the public were, and there was a little forum going on for a while. And we did a shirt, and people really, they enjoyed the shirt. They thought it was hilarious. So we did that for a little bit, and then that slowly has evolved into a full blown e-commerce at this point. I think we have I don't know, 100, 200 products on there easily.
From what I've seen, yeah, I like a lot of the stuff that's up there. That's why I started running a few of the designs that I come up with past you. It's like, okay, what do you think of this?
It's a lot of fun. I mean, so that is like my wife is she has ADHD. She just found out that she is autistic. She's very introverted. I'm more extroverted. And a lot of artists tend to be more introverted, so that's what all of those designs are geared towards, say like get the fuck away from me or leave me alone, things like that. For more controversial things that says fuck you, it's my pussy, God, on the topics of that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of it's cute, it's catchy, so people enjoy it.
Yeah, I am I like to say that I am an introvert cleverly masquerading as an extrovert.
Yeah. See, I'm the exact opposite. I'm great. Like I could go out for like 5 hours and then like I'm good. I'm good for a little while. Like I enjoy people. I need them to recharge, but like especially since like COVID and all of that. And I'm very comfortable at my house. All of my stuff is here, right? Like I like my stuff.
Yeah, I say that too all the time. It's like, look, I've paid for everything. I got video games, I got food, I got internet, I got TV. What do I need to go out for?
I'm telling you, man, as a child and a teen, you constantly want to get out the house. You want to get out the house, and then like now I've bought all of this stuff. Like, do you know how much money it costs? You have to pay all this money to exist. Like,
Mhm.
I don't ever want to leave the house again. Like, I like it here. This place is fantastic.
I'm getting my money's worth.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
All right, so tell me about the creative process for you. Where do ideas come from for you?
Um, I mean, they're just. I guess I'm very analytical, so I really enjoy reading. I'm constantly reading. Art is my hobby. So before I had a retail store. I had a vitamin store, and I really like my I guess what gets me going for everything, my motivation for everything that I do is helping people. So I did that for about 10 years through the vitamin store, of helping people with that. Now I'm helping people take control of their businesses. But the creative process, I don't know. I've just always been a creative kid. I've honed it over the years, just through trial and error in my own endeavors, working with projects where, nonprofits and humanitarian type efforts. And then, over the last 9 years, almost 10, getting to do real life stuff, concentrating on guerrilla marketing for probably the first 3 or 4 years. Because a lot of your mom and pop places they're bootstrapped, right?
Mhm.
So creative flyers that you can scatter around town or co-op advertising. And, I really enjoy breaking the rules and staying away from the design trends, while still making things aesthetically pleasing, right? Like you can't just you can't go completely off the rails with certain things, because then people don't understand it, and then you kind of alienate your demographic.
Yep.
But like like the nod with the UFO right behind you, like that's a fantastic poster. You know what I mean? Like people are going to get that. No, like doesn't matter who you are or what it is. Like that's an iconic pop culture reference, and it's going to make sense.
Yep. My one co-host, when I designed that, he asked me, you can't, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a pig being pulled up too. And he was
So
like,
probably like, yep.
and he was like, isn't it usually cows that, aliens go after? I was like, yeah, man, but they found out how good bacon is.
Oh, I love it. See, that's fantastic.
And that's that boundary pushing, that's that
Uh-huh.
stepping outside the norm.
Yep, but you're still inside of the box where people get it and they understand it.
Yep. Well, once you explain it to them sometimes.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't look at that and be like, that's complete. Like, I don't get that whatsoever because there's a pig.
Yeah. Now, you said trial and error. Now, I have to know, because I've got some that are just disastrous in mine. What was one error that was just outside the norm for you, like just a catastrophic error?
Ooh, from the creative side of things,
Yeah.
um, trying to think of something notable off the top of my head. Most recently, sent out we do a lot of corporate branding, and we sent a mobile massage studio, a rendition of a logo, and there was it was like an abstract shape of like hands, like for massage, to symbolizing towards that. Um, in the right context, in the negative space, if you were to be drunk and squint your eyes in the dark, it could be an abstract vagina.
Did you do DDP?
It was kind of, no, well, it wasn't. I get like in an extremely rudimentary way. Sure. I mean, it was two hands, right? Like
Right.
a nod to that. So I guess that was she had came back and she was like, hey, somebody had kind of mentioned that there's kind of a nod female genitalia, and I'm like, okay, I mean, it's a stretch, but I guess I can see it. Um, so there's that. I can't think of any other ones for the creative off the top of my head though.
I mean, that's great though. I inadvertently made a vagina.
Yeah, yeah. Oops. It must have been a Tuesday, right?
Taco Tuesday. Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah, fair enough.
Tell me about the artwork behind you of you.
So that is one from a guy named Dan Knighton, and he's been a longtime client turned friend. So we did all of we still do. We do all of his reproductions. We used to do his photography for his artwork, and now we actually vector them. That way they're scalable, so we can do things like wall wraps with them and larger pieces and smaller ones as well. But he got invited into a showing, and he had to do 3 portraits. So they had to be 3 original portraits, and he had figured out the 2, and that was like a selfie that I had posted on Facebook, or maybe it was MySpace, either way. And he's like, hey, I really like that, and I'd like to paint that for this, for the show that I got pulled into. And of course, that's very humbling, right, to have somebody say, I want to use you as a muse. But I let him do it, and then I ended up buying the original from him. And I'm extremely vain, right? Go figure. I have bought and sent, probably, without over exaggerating, more than 10 of those to people, like prints of them. I'll randomly mail friends, people, relatives, strangers, mail them prints of that so that they can hang me up and I can hang out with them while I'm at home.
That's
and
awesome.
I think it's the funniest thing. So like Christmas presents, Valentine's Day, like just random events, just mail people pictures of myself because I don't know, that's really funny. And who does that?
You heard it here first, viewers and listeners. If John Hofmann has your address, there's a good chance he might show up at your door.
Yeah, it's so tasteless.
Well, it's not often though you get asked to be a muse and get to keep your clothes on.
Yeah, right. So
you might be able to move more product that way if it.
I don't know how that would really turn out if I took the suit off. I don't think it'll have quite the same presence, right?
So, fusion marketing, what's one of the core tenets?
One of the core tenets? Push the boundaries. Really, just always trying to innovate and stay away from trends. Push things constantly. Brainstorm. We're always bouncing things around. There are no right answers.
So how do you stay away from trends without inadvertently doing trends?
Well, I mean, I guess everything's going to kind of be different. So if there's an industry we're working with, we'll take, I just had a meeting earlier today for a 40-year-old meat market, right? A historic butcher. And they were going to be redoing their rebranding potentially. So what we would do for them is we would take a look at their industry as a whole and, kind of what everybody else's branding looks like for them it would be for America. And then we would kind of get down into the nitty gritty for what people are doing inside of Michigan, actually, because that's relevant to them, hyper local. And, figure out what separates them from all of their competition, figure out who their ideal target demographic is, like who's their best client, who do they want more of, and then we'll figure out what drives those people, what their pain points are, and kind of decide what that is, and then build something that would be aesthetically pleasing to them, so that they look as attractive as they can to their core demographic. Not that everybody needs to buy bacon, right? But if they're looking for that dad that loves to, he loves to smoke meats or he loves to barbecue, he's going to be a little bit different than that single mom. So, that can have more of a masculine tendency than not, right? Than more of a feminine type of a thing. But as far as the design trends, yeah, I mean, like right now, like the material design and the flat design, that's all hyper popular, and we just try to stay away from it because it's constantly changing, and within sometimes as little as 6 months or 24 months, they're on to whatever's next.
Yeah, the cycle changes quite often.
And then everything looks stale, right? I mean,
yeah.
So.
Well, the flat design, I did that I don't know, about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it was before it became really big, and then I started seeing everybody else doing it, and so I went and changed everything. So so when you're looking at the demographics and whatnot and trying to get an idea of what a business's core base is, what's the timeline look like that? Like, how long does it take you to analyze analytics and go over everything?
It depends on the project. I mean, if it's an industry that somebody is familiar with, then we're going to have more of those insights. If it's if we have a peer group that we can lean on, like if you're selling things to landscapers, I know tons of people that have landscaping businesses, so I can pick their brains and we can ask them and we can look at things like that. But a lot of the small business type stuff, we're spending less than a week as far as research goes. Some of the other projects we can definitely go further in on that. You can always pull in other third parties to help you with those as well.
So you said you've been doing this for 10 years, that Fusion Marketing is about to turn 10.
Yep.
So over the course of a decade, how have analytics changed and how you have to pay attention to them?
Well, I mean, I guess the tools that we use have evolved, right? I mean, and I've only heavily been into web for I don't know, maybe 6 years heavily. Originally, like, I'm a 2D art guy. As we've talked before on stuff, I'm not real interested in anything that moves or the three-dimensional stuff. It hurts my brain. It's too much. Like, I'm very used to those just those cells. They're flat.
Fun to look at, hell to build.
Yeah. I'm a fan. I remember the first time that I saw the camera move on a three-dimensional model, and it like, my brain had such a hard time processing that the model doesn't move, the camera does, right? So like that just completely, smoke came out my ear. But as far as the analytics go, we have so much more data now. So, like, everything, our browsers are tracking everything that we do. My phone is listening to us, like everything. And then the AI and the ability to read context on pictures, and the deep learning and the profiles that they've built on us through all of that. I mean, it's wild, right? Now you can get everything. I remember, when the analytics, they were very rudimentary. They didn't give you a whole lot of in-depth anything. And now you can see how many times somebody's came back to your website, how long they were there, what they were doing, heat maps. Mm-hmm. I guess it's like, there's all of that. And of course we have countries that are now trying to, combat that to keep us safe, because we're all dumb, right? So yeah. Nobody actually understands to what degree we're being, followed in how deep the analytics go.
Unless, of course, you have to pay attention to them, and then it scares the living shit out of you sometimes.
It is terrifying, You remember when Target? This is a couple of years back, but I think it was Target. They had a huge settlement for a lawsuit with. They were doing mailers, so they look at your little card when you ring up for your coupons or whatever, your frequent shopper card, or for your points. And girl, if I remember correctly, was her purchasing had changed, and they figured out that she was pregnant before she did, or before she told her parents or something, and they mailed her coupons for like congratulations, for your new baby or some shit like that. And there was a lawsuit because the dad found out, and that's how they spilled the beans for that one. Do you remember that?
I do.
I'm pretty sure that's the way the story went. I know it was a number of years ago.
I don't remember if it was Target or not, but I do remember that story.
Yeah, because I remember the second part of that was they still do that. Only now when they mail you the congratulations, it'll be like next to a grill and a basketball hoop. So like we're like I love it. I was shopping on Kroger for my groceries yesterday online, and everything that's on sale every week are the items that I buy.
Yeah.
I understand. Like I totally get how this works, and I'm okay with it. But we get really uncomfortable when we get called out. So as long as you're not blatantly like putting it in my face, I'm okay with it. Let me know because I am pregnant and I do need to buy a new some baby formula or whatever. Just don't call me out because that's still kind of it's sketchy. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, and I think we've gotten used to it to an extent now, but that was one of the first instances where it was clear that we're being tracked.
Yeah, it went from conspiracy theory to
Conspiracy fact.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've for years I've been trying to explain that to people because we've talked. I've done this for 15 years, and for 15 years I've had to pay attention to the analytics as they've grown and as they've changed, and I've had to like mold myself and shape and shift. Hell, I sat down with you not too long ago to try and figure out because it had gone beyond my scope at that point. Like I was hitting a wall.
Yeah, how's that going by the way? Is everything like do you like the what you're seeing? Does it
I like what I'm seeing. I don't like that I have to do it.
Okay, so it's just like we were talking before, and for anybody that's listening to this, hate that idea of having to play the game like you have to give people what they're used to.
Yeah.
Like nonprofit logos, they all have like colored stick figures in them, and they all look stupid. Or dentists all have like an abstract tooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, YouTube wants to see that they want to see on it with some words right above it, and that's the stuff people click on.
What was great is the very first show after we talked, I titled "Slave to the Algorithm."
Uh-huh.
And then it took off. And then the best part is because we talked about clickbait articles.
Yep.
And the last episode that I did before I took this past week off, I had a friend of mine come on and we were talking about video games. And the post that I put up, it was total clickbait, like to the point of it was written as if I had never played video games before in my life.
Okay.
And just started shitting on random things for no reason with no real knowledge base given, just very much the old man on his porch shaking his fist. And my guest read that article and he messaged me and he's like, man, I don't want to be disrespectful, but you're way off base. And I sent him a gif of got him. And he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, don't you remember me telling you a couple of weeks ago that I'm starting articles and they're going to be very clickbaity? And he was like, oh shit, you got me.
That's so fantastic. You are doing the blogging. How's that going?
I'm enjoying it.
Okay.
Because it's giving me an outlet to get the shit that's up here out without annoying my wife constantly. I mean, I still do, but with just different stuff now.
Fair enough.
Yeah, they're op-ed pieces, really. They're opinion editorials. That's all they are. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's a little bit more extra work than I was originally prepared for, but I think much like everything else in life, I've taken the ball and ran with it.
Yeah, I mean, hammering out just like one of those once a week type of a deal, just kind of your top 10 things that piss you off, or whatever it may be.
I've been doing 2 a week, and they're usually short, much like you would see on any other website, styled very similar. And yeah, they're very much clickbait posts. So if anyone out there is wondering what the fuck is going on with my writing, that's exactly what it is. I'm getting you to click and read.
Uh-huh. and that helps with the analytics.
And it also gives me content for the show that I don't have to sit and scramble for.
Yeah, that too, right?
Because like everything that's been in an article or a TikTok video or like anything that I've posted about, that usually goes into the first hour of the show now. So
I really enjoy your TikTok. Like I see you pop up every so often and just like Like, what the fuck is this? I'm about to, like, what am I putting in my mouth? Like,
Yeah.
what is this?
You know, wildly, I'm at like 740 some followers. It just blew up over the past couple of weeks because, you know, when we had talked about it, I had showed you a couple of the comments that I'd left, and you were like, maybe not be so opinionated. Don't go so hard in the paint on politics or whatnot. But that is one thing I am happy to say you were wrong on, at least for TikTok.
No, so you can't do that. It depends on the platform.
Yeah. TikTok, it's perfect because well, as you've seen, you know, it usually starts off with file this under nobody fucking asked me, and it seems to take off, especially my opinions on what's going on in the world as we speak.
So the reason why that works with TikTok is because it's a sound chamber.
Yeah.
So the way that their algorithm is set up, you see the things that you identify with and like. So, you know, lesbians are going to be getting lots of lesbian content, and angry old white men are getting lots of angry old white men content.
That explains why I get mostly cooking videos and thick women.
Yep. So there you go, man. So yeah, it totally makes sense that when you're sitting there and you're like, hey, this pisses me off. I'm over here like, hey, that pisses me off too.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
try that on Facebook. Go to pick any Facebook group and go tell somebody that your favorite color is blue.
No, because I don't have the anonymity there. That's the big thing too, is like I was so mad when Facebook forced me to use my real name on the website. I was like, I was Odd Man for years. Like I started as Odd Man when I left Facebook, or I left MySpace, and it wasn't until they were like, yeah, you've got to use your real name. I was like, I don't wanna. I don't wanna.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're trying to combat all the fake profiles.
I get it. I don't like it, but I get it.
We set about a year ago, we set up a real estate agent, or not a real estate agent, an insurance agent, excuse me. And we set him up, he's an older gentleman. We set up his Facebook and his personal profile, helped him out with that. Did that whole thing for social media. And they flagged him and they denied him and said that you have to prove that you're you. You know, give us a picture of your license. Or no, give us a picture of you. So I'm like, hey, you have to send that over to me. He's not a computer guy. I'm like, send me a picture, and so I can submit it on your behalf and do that. And they denied that. And we did that 4 or 5 times, and every picture that he would send them, they would say that he was not himself. He ended up not getting, like, it was at a certain point where he just said, what am I even doing? I don't care anymore. Because flat out, Facebook they wouldn't accept that he was him, like, they wouldn't let him, he couldn't prove that he was himself, that he was a person.
Yeah, I had to do that at least once or twice. I had to send them a picture of my ID, and I believe they asked for my Social Security at one point.
Oh, that's wild. I don't know if I would.
I didn't give it to them.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if I would give them my SS number.
No, I gave them mail. I gave them my driver's license, and I had one other form of ID that had my name and my picture on it. I think I was working at the hospital at that point. My name was on my badge and everything, and I was like, "This is what you're getting." And they tried to push the issue. I was like, "I don't know you. I'm no, I'm not doing that." And finally, they took what I was willing to give them and gave me my account.
Yeah, go figure.
Yeah, well, it's Facebook. They're the devil. We know that.
Yeah, and that's why we don't want to give them our SS number.
Yeah. I felt like I was like one of those old people trying to get scammed. Like it was Facebook. It was very much Facebook themselves asking for it. But I really did feel like one of those old people, they get scammed over the telephone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's wild. I just got I got an email saying that I was banned from Facebook and that my account was pending deletion. Right. Well, that's not unheard of for anybody. Everybody gets in trouble. So I was like, oh wow, they sent me an email. I'm in trouble. The link was an actual Facebook link, because my first thought is, okay, it's spam. Like, we all know how that works. It's phishing. So I hover over the link and I check it out. I'm like, no, that's an official Facebook link. So I ended up opening it up in a sandbox so I could take a look and see what's going on. And it is in fact Facebook. So here's the hook. Facebook page with a branded URL that said something like the branded URL was like recover Facebook account or something, however it was. So it's Facebook / recover my account, type of a deal. And then inside of that there was one pinned post, and that was the link over to whatever for you to fill out a form to give them your username and password for the phishing. And I was like, damn, they're using Facebook to house the links to fish.
Mhm.
Like that's so smart, because then they're getting past the spam filters.
Yep.
Because you're not cloaking anything. It's an actual link to Facebook, and that's not breaking any rules.
Well, you know what it is? We're getting older, and they think that we're going to be easily duped.
Well, how many people? I mean, I did click that link and get over there, right? I mean, there was that.
Yeah, they might be getting paid per click.
Maybe, I don't know. Well, now once I did that, then they can track me, right? I mean, you can see the visitors.
They can track the average person. I would imagine that your personal computer and your work computer, if they are two different computers, definitely have some protection.
Yeah, of course. Can't go on the internet without protection.
Nope. I'm wearing a condom right now. All right, so we've talked about fusion marketing a little bit. So I want to ask one more question about it, and then I've got a couple other questions for you. What has been your pinnacle moment so far in 10 years? What is that one account or that one project or that one moment over the course of 10 years that you've just sat back in kind of awe of either yourself or the project itself and its outcome?
Like we end up with NDAs for a lot of the cooler projects that we work on.
Of course.
Right. So I can't talk about like any of the ones that are like real exciting. I can tell you this because we didn't have an NDA, and I got burned on this project. We worked with an iconic music venue in Michigan, and we were working for their rebranding. And this was early on. This actually shaped and changed the way that we do business moving forward. So we did that. We came up with all of these different concepts, one of which was extremely strong, and we were going to move forward with it for rebranding this iconic venue. And last minute, they turned around and they said, "You know what? We're not going to do this. We're going to move in a different direction. We're all done. We're not paying you. We got burned on it." They still use our concept to this day for their branding, and it wasn't a money thing for them. They just they took our idea and they screwed us. And from that point moving forward, we don't share any type of ideas or thoughts with people until we have signed contracts and retainers and things like that. I was young and naive, and that was definitely a pinnacle moment, and definitely changed the way that we do business moving forward.
I don't have no idea if this is the one or not, but the only thing that came to mind when you were telling me that is it will always be Pine Knob to me.
Oh, no, it wasn't, but that'd be cool too, right? I would love for them to screw me, bend me over like that.
just to say it was, yeah, hey. So moving forward, you said that you had to change directions or tactics with business. How many times have you had to do that?
Oh, all the time. I mean, the industry is constantly evolving and changing. We've moved more towards a lot of subscription type things over the last couple of years. For like last 4 years, we've been moving more towards that. So we do website admin, which is nice, because as a freelancer yourself, you know what it's like that. You find a job, you execute it. You find a job, you execute it. It's really hard to kind of gauge. Are you bringing in how much money you're bringing in this month versus next month versus 2 months from now? Yeah. So having those is really cool. We the SEO stuff, we're able to do that without contracts. But again, if we're doing stuff that's monthly, it's an agreed monthly contract, or I guess it's not a contract, but it's a monthly amount of money that's coming in on a regular basis. So we got a bunch of those little pokers in the fire. So It's a good chunk of change that's coming in regularly. And, to start with, I would have hated the idea of that because I was, I just want to help people and make art, right?
Yep.
So,
Yeah, that's been the biggest hurdle for me too, is like I can quote what it'll take to build a website. I can quote what my time will be and what you'll need to put in to have like the server and the domain and everything else. And they'll be like, yeah, that's cool. And I'll be like, okay, there's admin. I offer admin services as well. You can do 3, 6, or 12-month packages.
sure.
And they don't want to pay for that. They just want it built and the keys turned over. And I'm like, okay, but there's gonna be issues. There's always issues.
It's
Well, not,
technology.
yeah.
It's unclear.
And then they're like, well, not if you build it right. And I was like, I could build it perfectly and there's still gonna be issues.
It'll be perfect today.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's tomorrow. Like,
Yeah. What happens if your database doesn't update it? Do you know how to go in and do that?
Yep.
No.
well, I
You're just
explain to
trying
people-
to screw me over, man. No.
I explain to people all the time, like, how often does your phone update, like your cell phone? That's it. Websites are doing the same thing. The internet's doing the same thing.
Now imagine if you had to go in and manually update every piece for your cell phone to work.
Or figure out what part of it needed to be updated.
Yeah, or what broke.
Yep. Or why. But yeah, that's a completely different conversation.
Yeah, I've been burned once or twice too, and it actually made me pull back from doing it for a while because I was just like, I had like 6 or 7 jobs lined up. This was the last one, and it burned me, and I was like, nah, I'm good for now. It didn't burn me as bad as it could have, but I still my finger hurt.
Yeah, right. I totally understand that.
All right. So aside from fusion marketing, you were very community minded. Tell me about this garden project you're working on.
So yeah, it's called the East Point Community Garden. It's over in East Point. The website is urbanseed.info. Back when I had my health food store, I got together with a bunch of people in the community, politicians, residents, etc. And we started up a farmer's market and a community garden at the same time. The idea was for the farmer's market to make money, to grow food at the community garden, and then to one hand washes the other. The long story short, the farmer's market is no longer around due to politics. Go figure.
Of course.
Right. But the community garden is still that's still going strong. This is its 10th year. It's doing fantastic. It's about the size of a city block. This year we should pull right around 1,000 pounds of food out of it to donate to the community. So churches, nonprofits, residents directly, pretty much anybody that can use fresh produce.
I love the photos too, man, because it is the motliest looking crew out there. It's
punk
rock gardening.
Yeah, no, it's so wild. Yeah.
And I like the videos and stuff that you post too. I try to share them when I see them. I don't live out that way, and I'm a hermit too, man. I hardly ever leave, but I definitely like what you're doing out there. It's admirable.
Thank you.
And it looks like every time you go out, you seem to have a couple more people with you each time.
Yeah, so I mean, well, if you've ever been involved with something community based, you get a volunteer today and then you don't see them for 6 months, or things like that. So yeah, it's different people coming and going all the time.
But at least you got people showing up.
At least, yeah, most of the time we do have a couple new people showing up. So it's absolutely appreciated, right? So if anybody likes gardening or manual labor, they should come out and see us on any Saturday.
Now, if any business owner sees or hears this and they want to try fusion marketing, how could they go about doing that, John?
You can do just that and go to tryfusionmarketing.com. That's where we are. You can reach out to there, or all of the major socials, same thing, Fusion Marketing. You just punch that into the Google as well, and we come up. So we're not hard to miss.
We'll post links with everything too.
Fantastic.
Hey, John.
Yes, sir.
Tell me a story.
Well, you want an embarrassing story or I don't know. I'll give you a story from my childhood. Okay. Um, so I guess I'm not super vocal about it, but I also don't shy away from it. When I was growing up, a large part of my life, I grew up without electricity or running water. So we were extremely poor. Both of my parents struggled with alcoholism and mental illness, and that's kind of what that looked like. So I remember at one point in my life, I was in middle school, and my mother worked at a secondhand store, and we didn't have running water. So we had a bunch of empty milk jugs. And every day I would get out of school, and her work was directly across the street. I would have to go over there where all of the cool kids would go and skateboard. And I would have to fill up all of these jugs of water, or all of these empty jugs with water, and we would bring them home, and we would use them to do things like flush the toilet and wash dishes and shit like that. And everybody used to make fun of me a lot, and it was really difficult growing up. But over the years, having such a interesting childhood, it's taught me to really appreciate the things that I do have, the importance of giving. That's why I'm so community minded. The importance of giving back to people, and yeah, I mean I definitely I'll never forget where I came from, and I'm very grateful to be in a position where I am without having to sell myself out, right? I get to be.
Well, hold on, because you kind of are. You're like me. You're a bit of a prostitute.
Well, I mean, that's different, Bill. It's consenting adults. As long as everybody signs the contract.
Right. Yeah, and there are definitely NDAs for certain aspects.
Right. No, but that was one of the crazy things. That are quick side shoot. I remember there was a point when I probably hadn't showered for someplace between 6 months and a year. It was bad, right? And you don't know what it is when you're young and you're going through it. So I was probably like between 13 and 16. And I was at my buddy's house, and I actually have a picture of it, like printed out from like CVS or what have you. And sitting there, and I was like itching my forearm, and like part of my sunburn came off, or like my suntan. It wasn't a tan, like I was covered in dirt, and it's super wild. And that was like one of the first times as a child, kind of going through that, where like I thought to myself, like, shit, like it's bad, like it's bad, like you don't know as a kid, you have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, I wasn't quite that poor, but I lived in some pretty shady places. There's a series of jokes that I used to tell, that I grew up in an apartment complex that was infested with roaches.
Okay.
And the roach problem was so bad that these motherfuckers would dive bomb you while you were in the shower. Like they did not care. And I would joke that we had a rule in the house that if they could lift it, they could keep it, because they would steal food and stuff like paper and whatnot. And we lost a TV that way once. I heard "I Love Lucy" in the walls, and I was like, damn it.
Son of a bitch.
But the wild thing was, though, is like, you're right. As a kid, you're like, this is normal, but it doesn't seem wrong,
Well, maybe that it's not normal, or it's like that it's not right.
Yeah.
But not to the extent or degree that maybe it is.
It was also.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was to say, it was also the first incident that I had ever found out what the chemical borax was.
Oh yeah.
Because my stepfather had covered, like, it just looked like a blue cocaine orgy had taken place in my kitchen that night. And when we woke up the next morning, it was just a field of dead roaches everywhere.
Wow.
And what had happened is it was actually the neighbor's apartment that was super infested. And like I said, I grew up poor, not as bad as what you say. But yeah, like you say, you know something's off, but you can't quite put your finger on it.
Well, you're too close to it, right?
Yeah.
And you don't have a comparison, because as a child, like that's like all you know is what you know. I guess the same thing for as an adult, right? Like all we know is our experiences.
Yeah.
And the headlines we read on Facebook.
Because
right?
you can trust them.
I mean, I do. That's where I get my news. But yeah, looking back on that, like, it was a terrible situation, but going through it, like, I don't know, kids are they're resilient, you know.
Yeah. And it looks like you're doing your part to give your kids a better life. So
Yeah, definitely trying. That's why I'm heavily involved with stuff to do with children. I just recently joined one of the schools, one of their college prep classes. I'm now sitting on their advisory board for audio video for AV. Actually,
you need a better microphone then.
Yeah, right.
No one's going to take you seriously. And I don't want to get too far into it, but the story that I've seen about you and your wife, absolutely beautiful and admirable on both parties.
Well, thanks, man.
Yeah, I don't need to open that can of worms during this interview. It has nothing to do with anything. I do just want to say I understand where both parties are coming from.
Uh-huh.
So, all right, it's time for interview roulette. Are you ready?
As ready as I'm going to be.
All right, before the interview started, I have you pick 5 numbers or between 1 and 250, and these are the questions that you picked. So, very first question. What's the best thing about your life?
Me.
Narcissism. Good.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, do you want to give a real answer, or is me a real answer?
That was my answer. Would you like me to expand on it? I can tell you what's great about me.
I know. I've met you. It's mostly the beard. The beard gives you the power.
This is my COVID beard. This is how long COVID has existed.
Well, it looks good on you.
Well, thanks, man. Better than COVID.
Yeah. All right. What gives you the creeps?
Heights.
Yeah.
White men in dark alleys.
I mean, that gives everyone the creeps.
But yeah, well, myself included, right? We're slowly, you and I are evolving into that, but whatever.
Actually, mostly it's old white men sitting on hills.
I don't know. Technology gives me the creeps. I'm a little bit of a technophobe. Scares the hell out of me. I see what we're doing and where we're going, and that's terrifying.
Yeah, I often feel like the horse from Ren and Stimpy. No, sir, I don't like it.
Uh-huh.
How would you describe yourself to a blind person?
Like a porcupine, but better.
Okay. Less prickly in spots.
In spots. It depends on the day.
Yeah. Unlimited free sushi or free tacos for life, and why?
Free tacos because I don't like sushi.
No?
Cut and dry. Plus, my wife loves tacos, and that way maybe she'd stick around a bit longer.
We've got a shirt for her at my merch shop, by the way.
Oh, we'll have to check it out.
The answer is always tacos.
The answer is always tacos.
Yep.
We had tacos for dinner.
Yeah. Well, it is Tuesday.
It is Tuesday.
All right. And finally, describe your dream home.
I'm not a very materialistic guy. So, I mean, it would be something safe, right? Something safe with enough property to stay safe, to not be on top of everybody. I think we've put a lot of weight on that, especially in America, to material things. And growing up without a lot of those, they don't mean a whole lot to me. So, home is what you make it. It's the people that are around it. So I can be home any place.
Yeah. Well, and see, a lot of people like to overthink that question too. Is they think that it means material possessions or things like that. I mean, it could be simple as a cabin in the woods somewhere.
Sure.
wherever home is. But I like the last bit of that answer is home is wherever I am, because um it's funny because you're right. I've never understood it either. I've always felt like a bit of an alien in the world because yes, I own things, but I don't let my things own me.
That's just it, man. I don't. Have you ever like purged stuff before? Every January, I throw like everything away that I haven't touched.
Moving is my favorite time to purge.
Yep.
But see, like I said, I grew up poor. I didn't have a lot. I've lost so much stuff over the years that I have no sentimental or emotional attachment to things anymore.
Yep, that's exactly how I am. It's just stuff. Like you get to keep the memories.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the other thing is too is like, so you mentioned, you've got your autoimmune disorder and whatnot, and we talked a little about mental illness too, and with the addiction, and whatnot. I have I am ADHD, so I have no object permanence. And I have a touch of OCD on top of it, so I need clean, clear surfaces in my life.
Uh-huh.
Because otherwise, I can take this lighter and set it down, and if someone takes a piece of paper like this and puts it over the top of it, I don't have a lighter anymore.
Uh-huh.
Like nothing in me will say, okay, I have no reason to look under that piece of paper because that's not where I put my lighter. So yeah, it's a constant battle in my house because my wife also has ADHD and is slightly autistic, and so like she's okay in clutter, whereas me on the other hand, I freak the hell out at it.
Yeah, that's wild, huh? So do you know do you know where the bouncy ball is in the end table in the drawer, like in the back corner? Like do you know where all of the stuff is, like the random shit?
As long as nobody's moved it, yes.
That's so crazy. I forget where everything is. I walk into a room and I find stuff and I'm like, that's where that is.
Yeah.
Like all the time.
There are certain things, yeah. But if it's been covered or moved, even so much as if I know that the bouncy ball is in the back left corner of the junk drawer, if someone goes into that junk drawer and moves it to the right corner,
Uh-huh.
or even the front corner, I will not find it in the drawer.
Yeah, that's because you're a man.
I was also the kid that would ask my mother where my shoes are and look up at the ceiling. So, all right, John, that's it. That's all I've got for you. I kept it tight because I know time is money for both sides.
Cool, man.
Tell them again where they can try Fusion Marketing.
Yep, tryfusionmarketing.com. That's kind of witty, right?
It's a brilliant URL.
That's where you can find us.
All right, give me a second to close out this interview. Thank you again. I hope you had fun. I hope it wasn't too taxing.
No, I always appreciate our conversations, and yeah, thanks for having me on, man.